I was gonna set this up on the table so you could watch me talking to you, but I decided, who cares? I'm not one of those scantily clad nymphs that you see doing a lot of these videos about van life. I'm just an old man. And by the way, where are those scantily clad nymphs? I 7 months I've yet to see one. And yet they're all over YouTube. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm not saying they don't do van life. I'm just saying I'm a little skeptical. Are you skeptical, Maggie? She looks skeptical. So we're just going to do this while we kick back on the Columbia River. So again, this is my list, nobody else's list. I'm a pretty laid back person. So a lot of things that bother other people don't bother me. So that's why this list is going to be fairly short. Okay, the cons. Let's start with the cons. Let's start with the negatives. Gas mileage. And honestly, I don't know. It's better than I thought, but it's still something to be concerned about if money's tight. And this is a 1999 GMC Savannah body, so it's a cargo van body. It gets 15 miles to the gallon. It's gotten 15 miles to the gallon for 10,000 miles now, for 7 months. It's pretty consistent. That's actually fairly good for a live-in RV. No, it doesn't get the gas mileage the spare van does, but it gets 15 miles to gallon. But it limits where I go on any given day. I mean, I don't drive a lot daily because it's $100 to fill this up. And so what I tend to do is stay in one area for 3 or 4 days, and that way I can make a tank of gas go, a week and a half, 2 weeks. Let's see. For the first 4 or 5 months, my wife was traveling with me on and off because she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. But it's been me for the last, I don't know, month, 2, 3 months. And there are times, if you're going to travel alone, I will say this, for me, there are times when I really crave human contact. Now I have control of that. I mean, I can go places where there are people, but I'm just saying, like at night, it's just me and the dog. And Maggie she's adorable, but she's got a very limited vocabulary. So, just saying, okay? So, here, let me show you this. Come here, Mike. Let me walk you into this. This is an 18-footer, okay? The whole bus is 18 feet. The living space is about 14 feet. Now, it's actually, and I'm going to touch on this on another item on the list, but it's actually good size for me and the dog. 2 people gets a little crowded. I guess that's a con. 2 people, it's like living in a 14-foot travel trailer. So if that gives you some field of reference, but yeah, I'd like to travel more with a person. In which case, it's going to be crowded. I know that I'm kind of bouncing around between a couple things, but there you go. And the other thing, this is the only other major con. I've thought about this for like 2 weeks, and I couldn't come up with very many. But this is a shuttle bus, okay? It is not meant for off-roading, and it's not meant for rough gravel or rough dirt roads. So a lot of the forest roads, forget it. I'm limited where I can take this bus. And I sure don't want to do that. I don't want to be, 10 miles into the forest and bottom out and have, have liquids coming out of the bottom. So I'm limited where I can go. I can't take a forest road up into Wyoming and camp in one of these places where you see the little scantily clad nymphs, frolicking in the streams and rivers and majestic mountains climbing above. I can't do it in this. So yeah, I consider that a con. Do I lay awake worrying about it? No. There's still a lot for me to see, but that is a drawback for anybody watching those YouTube videos and thinking, God, that really looks cool to wake up next to a mountain lake. Well, yeah, it does look cool, but you better have a four-wheel drive or some vehicle it's a rough ride in the shuttle bus on a dirt road. I'll just say that. And honestly, those were most of the cons. A lot of people say, they don't have room for all their possessions. It's like, I got more than enough room. In fact, this last time I was at my friend's house, I got rid of some stuff. So that's not a con for me. All right, the pros, oh my God. I didn't know how much I was born for this life until we sold the house and I started living this type of life. I absolutely love it. I love living this kind of life. I love waking up every single day and seeing something new and having the ability to drive somewhere else that's somewhere new. I love meeting new people. I've met some great people on the road. Everybody talks about the possible dangers. Yeah, they're out there, but you have to be aware of your surroundings. And I just don't take the chances. I hang out in areas that are not sketchy, and I've met some wonderful people. Wonderful people. People are always curious about seeing the shuttle bus. And it's cool to talk to them about it. I have the freedom to create without distractions. I was always distracted when I was living in suburbia. I have the ability now to film and write and create content without those distractions. And for me, another biggie was I just have a lot of time for introspection. This trip has been wonderful for me to get to know me. And there's, I may look like a simple man, but there's a lot that needs to be. There's a lot of house cleaning that needs to be done with this boy. Gosh, I love not having the responsibility of upkeep on a house. I live incredibly simple. I even outfitted this bus simply. I did not panel the walls and panel the ceiling. I just didn't do a lot of that stuff. I didn't put wiring in. I didn't put plumbing in. I live a very basic lifestyle that's comfortable for me, and that is fantastic. There is very little that can go wrong with the way I live in this bus. Now, can the bus have mechanical problems? Yeah. It's a motor vehicle. But, and I will tell you this as far as, because some people say it's a con, you're going to spend a lot of money on upkeep. Well, number one, buy wisely. And this is a 1999, but it was kept by the Portland School District. And it only had 68,000 miles on it. And the engine has passed 2 diagnostic tests now after 10,000 miles. And it's running well. Will I have to spend money on it? Of course. But if I spend money just on upkeep, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than upkeeping a home. And here's a plus for me, if you can read that. Meeting America, one handshake at a time. People smile when they see me coming. I can't tell you the number of times that's happened prior to me buying the bus, but not very many. So watch other videos. Yeah, there are a lot of cons that people are going to mention that I didn't mention. There, to me, it's an individual thing. I don't know what you're used to. I don't know how you're used to living. If you're used to having the finer things and living an incredibly comfortable life, I would really question whether you're made for this. I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be nasty. If you're laid back and you can handle change all the time and you love freedom, it's like, oh my God. This is it, folks. This, here, this. My suggestion is, if you're gonna buy an RV to live in, I don't know, I rent one for a month and try it. I'd really hate to see you sink all that money and set up a lifestyle. It's just not going to work for you. A couple other things I almost forgot. You see in a lot of these videos people talking about not getting Wi-Fi. I've got a hotspot for the Verizon, and the only time that has not produced Wi-Fi when I needed it was in the middle of the Anza Borrega Desert in Southern California. So, other than that, everywhere I've been, from Southern California to Puget Sound, within a day's period, I've had Wi-Fi. So, if I were doing a video every day, I might have a little problem. But that's not how I'm rocking and rolling. So, when I've got a week to upload a video, within that week I'll find Wi-Fi. Heck, within 2 days I'll find Wi-Fi. So, again, for me, that's not a problem. And the other thing people always talking about is trying to find what a hassle it is to try to find a place to spend the night. And this one I don't get. I honestly don't get. The only time we were up against the gun trying to find a place and it was getting dark was down in California. We thought we had an Airbnb that we were going to stay at, or Harvest Host that we were going to stay at, and it turned out the road to the Harvest Host was so bad that 2 miles into the road, into this private road, I had to turn around because I was afraid I was going to bottom out. And then by the time I turned around, then we were scrambling because it was dusk. We were in a strange city, and we finally found a Cracker Barrel, and we spent a fine night there. But that's the only time, guys, in 7 months, almost 8 months, that I have not been able to calmly find a place to spend the night. I just haven't had a problem. County parks, I've found, they're just everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know what the hassle is. A lot of people are talking about stealth camping, where they can park, like in a city. We don't try to be stealthy. We find a place that's. And one thing I've learned, one thing that helped me, if I'm in a small town that I'm unaware of, I'll go talk to the authorities. I'll go talk to the police, or I'll go talk to the fire department and see where it is that they're comfortable with me parking for a night. If they know I'm not homeless, and that's the beauty of talking to them. If they know I'm not homeless, they're usually pretty reasonable about helping me figure it out. So, again, this is just me. Okay, I'm not saying that other people have not had that problem. I'm sure for them it's a problem. It hasn't been for me. So I consider one night out of almost 8 months pretty good. All right, that's what I wanted to say.